Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about holding mid as a CT on Vertigo. Mid is one of the most important positions on the map because as a mid player, you can easily disrupt the T's general plan and default. Typically, the T's will send one player here either looking to lurk or multiple players here if they're looking to split the sites. It's a highly targeted section of the map because it's really easy to find a gap when another part of the map is pressured, so your goal as a CT should be either to deny this control from the T's or just get information when they are in mid and regroup with your teammates. So to start off, at the very beginning of the round, you always want to be mauling mid. This is going to deny any mid rush, and it's going to deny any T's from pushing through and just trying to get a free pick on you or taking this space for free. If they do push through, you will hear them, so make sure you're paying attention to that and you're ready for them to come through. An easy way to molly mid is just to aim at the center of this slanted wall here, run forward, and left click throw. After throwing that molly, what I'll usually do is I'll sit here and jiggle and just listen for them to run through. If I hear them run through, you can throw a nade like this. That's going to bounce into mid and chunk anybody trying to push through further to punish you. And if you don't hear the T's pushing through, you can throw a nade like this. That's going to go through the skylight here and chunk anybody playing behind this molly. A couple different ways you can throw it's like this, right here close to this box. You do a left right click jump throw aiming at the bottom of this line right here. Another way is jumping on top of this. Aim at the right side to this red net here and left click throw. And then finally, if you're doing an early mid nade, you can jump on top of Guardian like this, onto this corner here. Aim right here at this dot and then do a jump left click throw. All of these nades are going to land in the exact same spot and do the same amount of damage to the T's. After throwing that nade, you'll have a couple more seconds on the molly, so you don't need to instant smoke mid, but usually what I'll do is I'll wait for the molly to go away and then I'll drop a smoke into mid. You don't necessarily need to drop this smoke into mid. You can sit here and jiggle, but you do need to be careful of any T's pushing out because they can wallbang you through this box. So altogether, your early round should look something like this. Come out to mid, throw a molly, listen for their sound, and then throw a nade through the skylight. You don't have to throw the nade on that exact timing. You can throw it kind of whenever you want. So if you know they're playing pretty far back towards gen, you can even wait a bit and then just keep jiggling here, and then check a nade whenever you feel like they're going to be there. Then after that, I'll usually just drop a smoke down and play a bit further back. And you can also spam through the smoke as well if you'd like. One thing to be cautious of though is with this mid smoke, you'll typically see T's at a high level push out behind it, so you need to be ready for them to come through that. Now that we've got the early round out of the way, we can start talking about the mid round and kind of how you want to play as a CT. This is really up to you, so you can either play pretty aggressive, taking the fights onto the mid lurk that's usually here, or the players pushing into you. Or you can play in a more passive setup, so if you're not feeling too confident this game, or you kind of just like playing in a more passive setup and relying on your teammates a little bit more, you can play a bit further back and let them get mid control for free. As long as you're getting the information, this is not a bad thing. First, we'll talk about playing aggressive because personally, this is my favorite way to play mid because you can get free kills in almost every single round and just shut down their mid lurk completely. One of the most important things to do as a mid player, though, is not dying. So if you're not successful doing this, you definitely want to move into a more passive setup and let your teammates help you out. One big mistake I see in mid players that like to fight aggressively is they'll hold common angles like this, or up on these boxes here, behind the sandbag, or even Guardian. All these angles are pretty bad because the T's will usually come out pre-aiming them. So as you can see, general T clearing process is you clear this corner here, clear over this side, on top of here, clear out the left, and then they just keep their crosshair head height till they come up to Guardian, and then they're pre-aiming Guardian, and then sandbag. Instead of playing angles like that, you can move into off angles. So like instead of playing Guardian, you can crouch on this ramp here on the left side of this barrel, and aim right here. This is actually going to be a perfect off angle for Guardian. As you can see, I placed a bot there, so as the T's are peeking out into Guardian, your head is actually way below their crosshair, so you'll get a huge jump on them. Another off-angle option you have is playing on top of these sandbags. This is getting pretty common now, so I actually do see some T's clearing it. So instead of playing behind here where you're getting pre-aimed, you can play up here so the T's will be pre-aiming at your feet. And as a T, this is what it looks like when they clear sandbags. There are a ton of other off-angles you can play in mid. Those really aren't the only two. You can pretty much play anywhere and it's an off-angle. Another one I like is right up here on the edge of this box. The T's generally just walk right out into you. But definitely experiment around with other angles and see what you find and what works best for you. Now, on the other hand, if you find you're getting punished in mid for playing these angles and you're consistently just dying to the mid player, you want to definitely be playing in a more passive setup. To do this, you can either play towards Guardian, just kind of jiggling, spotting for info. You got to be careful of that boost there, though. And then after that, you can fall back towards site or towards CT. We can talk about that in a second. Another spot you can play that's super safe is in CT, just jiggling for the info because the T's will peek out and it's really hard to hit you here. And again, playing towards elevator is really strong as well. So if you're playing Guardian and you drop down when they're in mid, you can actually jump up on this rail here. And as they walk up onto Guardian, you're going to have a really nice angle onto them. I just placed a bot there, so as the T's are walking up here, they're going to be looking towards CT or towards site, and you're going to be right here ready for them to push up into you. Playing passive isn't necessarily a bad thing. It can be a great way to play mid if you know their mid player is super strong on the other team and you're really struggling against them. Just having the information that they're in mid is great to helping your team win the round because you can either regress B stairs, A ramp, or you can get some teammates to come back and help you re-clear into mid. As the mid player, you're also going to need to be flashing for your B players. So super easy flash that you can throw if you're in the sandbag is you can just come here, aim anywhere along this beam and left click throw. And what that's going to do is it's going to come out and full blind anybody on the ramp. You do need to warn your B players though because it does land in front of them. So they'll have to be ready for it and then peek off of it. Something else you can even do if you're really not worried about mid and you still have your nade, you can bounce a nade off this beam here and it's going to come stairs and chunk any T's running up. So if you're not able to make it Guardian to support your teammate, chuck that nade as they're pushing up and it'll destroy their health. There's not really much you can do to support your A teammates, so they're kind of on their own there, but they usually have either 2 or 3 people there. Usually they should have 2 people there, and then one of their teammates should come over here and either help you mid or help B. So moving on to the late round, this is where mid control becomes super important, and denying the T space in the mid makes their options extremely limited. Hopefully, when you get to the late round, you'll have another player near you, not the B anchor. You'll have one of the A players either in mid or B. And once your A players lose A ramp control, so usually you'll want them to have A ramp control easy by jump spotting it, and then late round the T's will retake this control. You're going to want to push into mid to get the flank on them and deny any players that are waiting here for alert. So you can call your second B player or your third A player over here and just push through mid and clear it out. Because as they're slowly working up A ramp, you're clearing out all this information so you know where all their players are sitting. This is actually one of the biggest reasons people's CT sides on Vertigo suck, just because they don't know how to play the late round, and the T's can just exec onto either site and get it for free. Pushing late into mid can create a lot of opportunities for your team. If you're able to get yourself down ladder, you get a nice and easy A flank, or even deny the rotates back towards the B bomb site. Or the other way, you can deny the B rotates to the A bomb site. If you're not able to get into mid fast enough before they're already execing onto the one of the sites though, I do not really recommend pushing because it's going to take you super long to get this A flank. And if they've already got the site, the bomb will pretty much explode by the time you make it up unless you're running and they will hear you running behind them. Instead, I would recommend just rotating it over to Ellie. You do need to be careful though because while you're rotating, the mid player is going to hear you rotating away and this is their opportunity to come behind you and get free lurk kills. As the mid player, another thing you can do is you can throw support flashes for your B teammate. You just need to be throwing them behind them. So make sure you look at your minimap and just know where you can throw them behind them. So if they're playing towards Gen, you can throw them behind Gen. If they're playing towards default, you can throw them behind default. Just know where your teammates are playing and help them out as they're getting pushed. So there's obviously a lot more that you can do here in mid, but this is just a basic guide on kind of how you should be playing it and how to approach it. So any struggling players in mid, this is definitely help you out. And if you're a new player in mid, good luck to you, and I hope this helps you get started. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe because I post instructional content like this every single week. And if you'd like to see a guide on how to play another position on CS2, make sure to comment down below because I will be taking a look at that for any future videos.